Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Alex Akimov, CEO and founder of SoundMe, the world's largest influencer marketplace, as he calls it. And under his leadership, it has grown quite a lot. The go-to platform for brands, record labels, and independent artists looking to launch viral campaigns through creators. And we'll learn from him about how creators, artists, and brands are using short-form content and influencer partnerships to go viral. Welcome to the show, Alex.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Alex. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about going viral with smart influencer strategy. We'll learn about all this. But before that, let's learn a bit about your journey, your background, your story, so that people know a little bit more about who they are listening to.
Absolutely. So I moved to LA back in 2006. I came from Russia without speaking any English, so I moved in, started to play guitar, wanted to be a musician at some point, and the music career. I had some success with music, and then life took me to become a manager of a boy band. So I started to manage a boy band, and when I went into the direction of manager, Spotify just started to come up. It was about 2015, 2016, and Spotify just started to pick up. So, and what we're trying to do, we're trying to figure out how to promote artists, because everybody started saying, you need Spotify streams, you need Instagram followers, all the social media boom started to happen. And I started to learn how to do promotions because I couldn't find any good companies to do so. So I had to figure out everything how to do myself. And I ended up growing the boy band pretty significantly. Back in the day, like we grew over 100,000 subscribers within like a year, which was back then was huge. You know, right now it's nothing. 100,000 subscribers is very small. It's not that significant. But back then it was big. Like, whoa, 100,000 subscribers back in 2016, it was big. And then once the boy band broke up, deciding that they are all solo artists and they can do whatever they want as a solo careers, I kind of figured, all right, maybe some other people would want to use my services. And it turned out to be that a lot of people are actually interested in that, and a lot of people want to promote themselves and want to do it the real way. And that's how my first company was born, called Simple Social, which is specializing in digital advertising. I went to study data science and consumption at MIT. I took some courses there. I figured out a lot of things about how the music marketing works as a whole. And then from there, TikTok started to pick up and becoming a very significant driver in the music consumption. So everybody started to ask about influencers and how to hire influencers. So, and I got a chance to negotiate with influencers and work with a lot of marketing agencies and agencies, the influencers agencies who hire them. And I kind of figured, okay, what if we create a platform that will pay creators based on their performances? And that's how SoundMe was born. So basically we figured out the way saying, okay, we gonna take creators and allow them to join campaigns if they choose to, and they're going to get paid by dynamic pricing, right? So we created the whole algorithm there, and this algorithm allows you to decide, like, if you're growing as a creator, if you're getting bigger as a creator, you're going to start making more money. So you start small. If you're a small creator, you start very small with small amounts of money, and you're going to start making significantly bigger amounts. We still pay more than Creators Fund does. So, you know, compared to TikTok Creator Fund, we're paying much more to our creators than they would. And excuse me. And from there, after TikTok, we introduced YouTube and Instagram. So that's where we're at right now. Right now, we're the biggest platform in the world. We have over 2.5 million creators. We're approaching 3 million by the end of the year, 3 million plus probably. And we're growing significantly.
Absolutely. So you are the world's largest influencer marketplace. What makes you the world largest influencer marketplace? Why not someone else? I want to understand, what is it? What is your USP that brings creators to your platform and influencers to your platform?
Well, first of all, we'll pay them. So that's the first thing. We're being honest and we'll pay them, right? And the second thing is, we allow anybody to join. So even creators with small amount of followers, if you have 100 followers, if you have 1,000 followers, you still can join and you still can participate in the campaigns. Because the beauty of social media is that anybody has a chance to go viral. Anybody has a chance to get a lot of views and a lot of engagement, even if you don't have a lot of followers and you don't have a lot of people just yet. And it also helps you to grow. It also helps you throughout your career, right? As a creator, you a you're able to test if you actually this is something that you want to do as a career, because it's a lot of work. It's hard. You're running the podcast, and you know how hard it is to produce content, to schedule things, book things, and understand how it works, and understand how to bring the audience and how to build the audience. So that's one thing. And another thing is, it might not be for everybody, right? But everybody wants to do it and wants to give it a shot. So we're giving you a shot. And if you join our platform, we're going to give you a shot, and we're going to give you ability to try it out and see if it's for you. And then the second thing is, if you progress as a creator, if you get more and more followers, more and more engagement, you're going to start making more and more money for each campaign. And we also give you hit songs. We give you a lot of great songs and great records that are becoming hits. So you have choices. Another thing that I run into, because I'm a creator myself, I'm trying to be. So we're all learning kind of thing here, right? So I'm trying to be a creator, I'm trying to produce content, and I'm trying to do a good job with that. And we're all learning as we go. But to me, the big milestone is, how do you come up with the content to post, right? Because you have to produce a lot of content consistently. So where the heck are you going to get all these ideas? You can follow the trends and you can figure it out. But here we're actually bringing it to you. We're saying, okay, do this dance. Most likely this dance is going to go viral. And you have a chance to like jump on the train and actually pick up your engagement, your views, your likes, and new followers, and get more exposure for your content as well. So I think that's why creators like us.
Absolutely. But is it the way age of influencers still, or is the age of influencers gone and new different sort of creators are coming, and we are moving from attention economy to connection economy? Because there was this whole term about from influencers to defluencers or de-influencers, because a lot of influencers were coming into questions, coming into a lot of the way they were, especially financial influencers. So tell us from that point of view, what is your understanding of this whole influencer strategy? That is where brands are also a bit being conscious or cautious about all this.
So your question, like, if you can rephrase the question, what you're asking exactly?
Is it that the influencers, that the age of influencers, is it gone, almost gone, or is it arriving in a different manner with a change in the way people are looking at content?
I think, like right now, just statistically speaking, right, the creators economy is booming, right, and it's growing. It's gonna do like, I from what I've read, it's gonna be doing about $500 million a year this year in 2025, or probably more. And brands, in my opinion, right, big creators are dying down, and big creators are not being hired as much as they used to. And the reason for this is, the only time, from what I see and what I understand, when the brand or company hires a big creator, they want to be associated and they want to actually hire influencers. So I split it in two, right? So there are influencers. So like, if we look at Mr. Beast, if we look at MKBHD, those are influencers. They actually can influence your decision about what to do, and what to buy and what to purchase and which direction to go. So those are influencers. And there are creators. So creators are people who create content. They're not necessarily big brands yet, but they are growing, and they still can influence your decision, but in a different way. I feel like brands now would pay somebody like Mr. Beast a lot of money to be associated with his brand, because they understand that his followers and his people, his fan base, is going to go and purchase the product just because he associated with that. And creators can influence your decision, but they can influence your decision from a different perspective. They can influence your decision from like a guy next door who you can trust, and you can listen to them. They tell you honest opinion. So I think in my perspective on this is, people are paying a lot more attention to honest reviews and honest opinions and honest descriptions about the product. They don't want to feel like they're being sold to anymore. They want to feel like, hey, I found this phone, and this phone is fantastic. I really like this phone, and I like this because this, and that. And it's honest and it's sincere versus of like, oh, this brand pay me money to review the phone and say, just come up with whatever the scripted opinion that I have to say on the camera. So I think this part is going away, and it's transitioning to micro and nano creators, which is I think is going to be in the next 5 years. This is going to be one of the most valuable asset that you can have as a creator. You can be a nano or micro creator because again, I pay, like, let's say I'm hiring a big creator. Let's say I'm hiring Charlie D'Amelio, somebody like that, right? She's probably going to cost me $50 to $100,000. And unless I want to associate my brand with her, there's not really a point of spending this much money on her alone because she's not necessarily going to create the trend and move the needle. Of course, she's going to get sales because she's a brand herself. But, excuse me, if I want to get a lot of creators talking about my product and I want to get it in thousands, that's where the micro and nano creators come in because you can get a big volume of people doing the same thing. In reality, when you pay for influencer marketing, what you actually paying for, right? That's the question. And that's the question I've been asking myself for a little while now. And I think I figured it out, right? So when I hire a creator, I rent their algorithm. That's all I'm doing. So I'm basically trying to, my expectation from this, I paid somebody as a creator, I hired them, and my expectancy is I rented their algorithm to take me farther because I'm expecting that their audience is going to react, the algorithm loves them, and it's just going to continue to grow. And that's pretty much all it is. I'm renting somebody's algorithm. And if I can rent thousands of those algorithms, the chances of something going viral are much bigger than having one big creator post something and just be done with it.
Absolutely. So, Alex, you talk about short form here.
Mhm.
Now, why brand should be focusing on short forms rather than long form? Because it gets much more, it has a bit of more seriousness. The old school sort of people who trust it. Short form will just come and go with lots of, embellishments, stickers, and whatnot. But is that the way it is going to work in today and tomorrow? Help us understand that landscape and how brands are looking at content, short form and long form, especially with data from your own platform.
Um, it's an interesting question because I had a conversation about it this morning. Actually, we had a whole discussion about the content as a whole, and each content has to tell a story, right? So that's the whole point. It all became storytelling. So you have to tell a story about something. And short form content is just much easier to do. It's shorter stories. On the long form content, you have to tell the story for 10 to 12 to 20, 30, whatever they're telling the story for. So it has to be a long story. I started to work with a great YouTube team, right? Because I'm working on building my channel, and my issue is it's much easier for me to tell short stories versus telling long stories. And the understanding how the content is being produced is kind of crazy because it's a full-time job. But with the short stories, it's much easier to do it and much quicker to do it. So short forms live much shorter; they have a much shorter life, but they can impact much quicker. So it's a quick impact, right? So like that's why brands leaning towards short form content. But I don't see long form content dying either. I feel like long form content is actually picking up as well, and it's becoming big. But again, the problem that I see right now with long form content is people don't want to be sold something, right? So like you don't want to say like this things of YouTube videos. Like you remember there was a part that people would say like in the middle of the video, oh, and now this video is sponsored by so and so, so we're going to talk about that. People fast forward for that. They can just click fast forward and be done with it. But there's a plug, right? There's a way you can plug in the product, and I think brands are still yet to realize that and start embedding it more. But remember, there was this mega viral video of Mr. Beast giving away 1,000 iPhones, right? $1 million worth of iPhones. It was like I'm 99.9% sure that this was sponsored by Apple. So it wasn't just because he chose to do it. No, they gave him these iPhones to give away. But it felt so natural and it felt so interesting, and the brand was plugged in right there. So I think that's what actually is going to start happening more and more, that those YouTubers, they're not going to be telling you, oh, this video is sponsored by so and so. No, they're going to be talking to you about the product and be like, all right, this is the product that we're talking about. I found it. I like it. and they're going to use it in their video and try to make the message less selling. People don't want to be sold stuff to. People want to feel like they discovered something. And I think with short form content, it's just much easier to do. And short form content, you can get much quicker videos, much quicker turnaround too, because long form videos, it's gonna take me time to do. It's gonna take me time to film, produce, edit, do all this stuff. With TikTok, I can just pull up my phone, film it, or even easier, go live and do it live. So I can do those things, and I can just pull up my phone and say, hey, I found this great product. This company sells great phones. I just bought one. It's amazing. I really like it. Here's what I like it. Here's what I don't like it. I don't have to do any editing, and if I do, it's minor. Just use CapCut and things like that, and just go really really quickly and just post it and be like, hey, here, my video is done. And that's pretty much it. So that's why I think short form content becoming so popular. And also algorithms are different, right? So TikTok algorithm is different than Instagram algorithm. Instagram algorithm is different than YouTube's algorithm, and everybody's going to pick up in a different way, and every piece of content is going to perform differently. So that's also why, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. In terms of platforms, do you think this whole influencer thing and brands are too much dependent on just a few platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube? Is it a way, is there a way where brands can also de-risk, influencers can de-risk themselves, or they will be at the mercy, because more bots are being talked about that they will come in, especially in platforms like Instagram and Facebook. So help us understand how should how are brands looking at this part? Are they looking at other options like newsletters are booming because people are bringing their audience straightway to either Substack or places like Patreon? They can also go live, or other
Mhm.
places are also there. Newsletters, you can directly, people coming to your inboxes, you can plug those ads, especially into newsletters. Tomorrow you will plug in video also into this, the same sort of a short video perhaps into those. People can watch it directly on that newsletter itself. How does this look like to be the longer game, or and not just relying on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube shorts and all?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're all wondering the same thing. But if you look at the timeline, right, and if you look at the timeline and performances of the social media platforms, right, there was Friendster, then Friendster died down. There was a MySpace. MySpace was sold. Then MySpace was basically destroyed because of all the advertising. Facebook had a perfect entry point, right, to enter there. Then there was Instagram. Then they became Snapchat. Then became YouTube at the same time around Facebook. YouTube became very popular, became big platform, and then TikTok came in. And if we look back, the all the platforms are pretty much still alive. So Friendster is still around somehow. MySpace still around, which is owned now by Justin Timberlake. So Justin Timberlake purchased MySpace, and now he owns that. I have no idea what they're doing with it, but it's still alive. And I guess if it's still alive, so some people still using MySpace for some reason. Then Facebook. Facebook is still popular in some countries. In Facebook, there's still videos that go super viral on Facebook. And then there's Instagram, which is consistently developing, consistently building. And Snapchat is trying to take the niche somewhat, but they don't. They're trying to. So we'll see what's going to happen there. And there's TikTok. So I think we have plenty of platforms to work with. There's also Patreon. There's also like bunch of like Lemonade. That's the new platform that TikTok did. There's Pinterest, which is a big platform as well, that is trying to move the needle with brands, and it's actually, I feel like it's actually working, and it could become something. There's also LinkedIn. LinkedIn influencers becoming very very popular, and LinkedIn influencers are starting to dominate that niche and starting to get into the groove as well. So I don't think we're going to be short on the platforms. I feel like finding what platforms work for you, that's the best way to do it. Because if you look at most famous YouTubers, for instance, right, we not going to see their presence so heavy on Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms. Some of them do, but majority of them don't. You go follow, if you follow any of those YouTubers, if you look like at MKBHD, he has followers on Instagram, but his main thing is YouTube. That's what he's focusing. That's what his main priority is, because this platform worked for him. For some people, TikTok works better. So I think you have to find a platform that works, because each algorithm is different, and each platform's algorithm is going to pick you up differently. If you post same content everywhere, it's not going to work. So you have to figure out what's working for these audiences and how to get their attention, and just focus on that. But the danger here is always, look at what happened in the US. In the US, like when they said TikTok's going to be banned all of a sudden, and then like look what happened in India. TikTok is banned in India, you know.
Yes.
And we're actually like to do like, can I do a little plug real quick on my end? We're actually
Yeah.
looking, like a lot of people are asking us. We opened Instagram, and a lot of labels, a lot of artists want India on Instagram. This is a very hot market right now for us in demand. India actually surpassed consumption on YouTube long time ago, and now India surpassed consumption on Spotify. So India is consuming more music than United States, which is huge on Spotify, which is huge, big jump. So so Indian creators in a very high demand, like a very large demand. And when you invited me to this podcast, I was really excited, because like this is the market we're really like trying to engage with. So this is a very great market that I really want to be a present in. But going back to the other part, to the newsletter, right? To answer your question, um, I've noticed that people do not open their emails anymore, unfortunately. And it's becoming an issue. It's becoming an issue with outreach, because I talked to a few agencies, friends of mine who are running the agencies, and they doing the outreach to creators, trying to sign them, and their response rate is about like 1%. And they're trying to get a bunch of emails, they're trying to reach out to the kids, and although they have a email in their bio on TikTok, they don't respond to their emails, they don't check their emails. I had a conversation with the artist too not too long ago, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't check my emails." I'm like, "Okay, so how do we communicate?" "Oh, text message." "Oh, we can communicate on, oh, I'll DM you on Instagram." It's like, okay, so this is becoming a different world with that, right? But there are countries and territories that still love emails. Like Latin America loves emails. They always open emails. They love emails. They're really excited about it. America doesn't like emails that much. America's like, unless you're in a business, America likes text messages. So it's easier, faster, quicker. Instagram DM. That's what people are responding to. So it just depends. But I feel like if you have to build a your fan base, you have to have them outside of social media, because it's not your fans. They don't belong to you. They belong to TikTok, they belong to Instagram, they belong to YouTube. They don't belong to you, they follow you. And if something will go south, TikTok's gonna get banned. You're gonna all of a sudden lose all this following and all these fans, and there's no way for you to reach them in the future. So I think it's always a good idea to have a plan B, being like, all right, I'm migrating to this platform. And it's always a good idea to have multiple platforms, although even if you like not super present on, like, let's say you have YouTube and you have Instagram, so you're not super present on Instagram, still post content there and try to get your followers and fans migrating there. Create an email list as you suggested, which is great. And even if people don't open it, then also collect their phone numbers, text them, have a conversation with them. Another great way, actually, what I've been thinking about a lot lately is Discord. Discord is another platform that you can communicate with your fans pretty easily and freely, and it's a fun platform to be on as well. So, but just try to drag your audience somewhere else besides just having them in one spot. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's always not a good idea.
Absolutely. So, how do you manage all this, you know, uh, developments into all this creator field in different platforms, and put them together and plan out your business strategy? You see, even Vimeo now, it has come out with its own thing that it's giving creators their own, studio and everything that they can create. So they don't need any platform, they don't need anything else. They can just be themselves, and it's almost like a studio. And you see, all this creation is moving towards like even you talked about Mr. Beast. His every video costs sometimes as much as millions of dollars. So it's almost like a big Hollywood studio sort of a production rather than anyone else. Even in terms of streamers, how are you looking at streamers, podcasters? These are all new sort of influencers that are coming, that will be coming or are coming your way. Alex, how do you make sure that they are coming in the right spirit, because this is ultimately business also. They want to make money. When they make money, you also make money. Everyone makes money.
Of
How is
course.
this whole thing panning out as you see it?
Well, with us, we have an app, right? So we have an app that you can download. It's on the iTunes, on the Apple Store. It's on the Android store. It's called Sound.me. So if you search Sound.me, it's gonna come up. So you can download this. Our system is very easy. It's you can connect it with like a few clicks, and you start getting campaigns right away. But all of those influencers, like who like are influencers, like going back to Mr. Beast, going to like big podcasters, going to like big TikTokers and live streamers, it's a media company. You're pretty much building a media company. That's what you're doing. And you're taking your media company from nothing to productions of like serious TV shows. If you look at what Beast does, is crazy. The production, you're right, the production value, it's crazy. And I had a chance to like talk to his team. He spends like $5,000 to $15,000 on one thumbnail, trying to make it right, trying to get this thing right. It's a media company. It's not anymore a creator. It's a media company around them. So the huge team, a lot of people who's consistently coming up with ideas, editing, creating stuff, and it's just it's a lot. It's a lot to handle, and it's getting more and more complex because you're always trying to, especially with those guys, right? They always trying to top each other, right? So like they're trying to do better than the other person did. So they always have to be consistently developing things and consistently building more and more and more and more and more. When you do like, something like Sound Me, right? And 2.5 million creators is a lot of people to deal with, right? I have no experience. When we started this company, I was thinking, okay, we're gonna have 1,000 creators maybe signing up, and I'll be happy. I have 1,000 creators to deal with. And the first 2 months, we got 150,000, and I was like, okay, now we have to have support in multiple languages. Now I have to have like Filipino, I have to have Portuguese, I have to have Spanish, I have to have different languages on the support. Then it became, okay, I have to have a quality control team, I have to have a bigger development team. So it's consistently developing. But I feel like the market and it's gonna push you in the right direction. If something's working and if you're passionate about it, it's gonna start pushing you to the right direction, because you're gonna start looking back at this and saying, okay, I have 150,000 creators, right, on the platform. That's what I was thinking. I was like, what do I need now? How can I make it bigger? How can I make it better? All right, I need this team, so I need to go and hire. Now like YouTube side is like, okay, I need the editor who's going to edit my videos. Okay, once you get to the point when a lot of people watching you, you can go ahead and hire a second editor. Then you can hire a script writer who's going to help you. Then you're going to hire a thumbnail guy. Then you're going to hire a person who's going to help you with the strategy of the content, how to strategize it properly, how to tell the proper story. Then you can get a few of those people, who's going to communicate with each other. And that's how it starts building. And unfortunately, that's the reality of that, right? You cannot avoid this. You cannot be a one-man solo team unless you are, I forgot his name slipping out. Like there was the YouTuber who reviews cars. I forgot his name, but he does solo. He brings one camera. He's been doing it for years. He brings one camera. He puts it in front of the camera, oh no, the car, and say like, and this, and then he goes on the car review, right? He's been doing it forever. So he's one guy. He doesn't have any editors. He does everything by himself. But he's more like a unicorn, right? That's like he's one of a few people who are actually able to do that. Usually those big YouTubers, they have a production company. Same thing with the TikTokers. When you see a big TikToker, they have a whole team around them. They have a team who's gonna research the trends. What is trending right now? What kind of content you need to make? You also you have an editor who knows CapCut very well, who like tailors everything to this specific platform, who's gonna edit things for you. Then you have a person who's going to come up with like another cameraman, because you can't film it yourself anymore, so it just grows and grows and grows, and eventually it becomes such a big company. It becomes like an enterprise, and it's kind of exciting, right? Like if you think about it, that in who would have thought, like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when I moved to LA, there was MySpace. There was no social media really present. It's like just kind of like, you just have friends and you post music and things like that. And who would have thought that's like 15, 20 years later, it's going to become such a massive thing that it will create careers and it will create billionaires. Mr. Beast became a billionaire. So who would have thought, right? Like if you think about it, kind of crazy.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's so much to learn about all this from Alex, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to, a lot of creators, influencers would want to connect with you, learn more from you, about getting onto your platform. What is the best way for them to do so?
All they need to do is just go on the app store and download sound.me. So all you need to do is just type on the whatever app you're using, either Android or you're using Apple. You just type sound and .me, and you're gonna find our app. So our app is there, like it's gonna be on top. And then you just download the app, you connect all your accounts. It's very simple, very fast. You can register in less than a minute. Once you connected everything, amazing. You're just gonna start receiving campaigns, and we have a lot, right? We're doing every month. We post anywhere from 2 to 3 thousand campaigns every single month. So we have a lot of artists. We have a lot of campaigns. Not all the campaigns, because we have markets too, like market segmentations, right? So not all the campaigns going to be necessarily available in your country, but you know we do have a lot of campaigns, and we do have a lot of demand for India right now in particular. And I think this demand is going to grow a lot more. When I thought about this, right? When we thought about creating it, and my idea with this was that anybody deserves a chance. You never know if on my platform, Sound Me, I have a next Mr. Beast. I don't know, maybe. But if somebody's given an opportunity and given a chance to do it, that they might shine, they might turn it into a career. And I'm a strong believer that everybody deserves an opportunity, and anybody can be a creator. It's not that difficult if you can figure it out, right? So like anybody can do it, anybody can try it, and that's why we allow anybody in. Like anybody can join, because you never know who's going to be the next MKBHD, Mr. Beast, and whoever, right? Whoever's going to blow up.
Absolutely, absolutely. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.